Unmute.
How about that view? You were looking at the Pacific Ocean near a little town called San Simeon, California, a very remote location, halfway between Los Angeles to the south, or to the left of that picture that you're looking at, and San Francisco to the north, or to the right of that picture. Good morning, everybody. On behalf of California State Parks, I want to welcome you to Hearst Castle here in beautiful San Simeon, California, one of your 280 California state parks. My name is Laura and I'm a guide here. We want to welcome you to another edition of Parks PE. Today's theme, we're going to get muscular with the Crepusculars. Now you might be asking, what the heck is that word, Laura? Crepuscular. I'll spell it for you if you've got a pencil, a paper, or you've got your iPad there. Crepusculars. The crepuscular is an animal or an insect that likes to move about between dusk and dawn, basically during the nighttime. So we're going to get muscular with the twilight animals and insects here that reside at Hearst Castle. Now, before we get started here today, we do need to talk a little bit about safety and health issues because that's our #1 priority with Parks PE, your safety and your health. You'll notice that I'm wearing a mask, and that's because the COVID pandemic continues to rage throughout the world. Now, we've recently had some updates with our federal guidelines with CDC, and our state guidelines have yet to update here in the state of California. But we do know this. When we're outside, we are to wear a mask, but there's one exception when we're exercising. So because we're exercising today with Parks PE, feel free to remove that mask like I'm going to do right now. And as long as we maintain a good distance of 6 to 8 feet between ourselves, then we'll be safe outside without that mask. If you're indoors, you can take that mask off. If you're around family or friends that have been vaccinated or that you know, that's fine too. But when we're outdoors, you want to obviously remain masked unless you're exercising. Okay, some other safety guidelines that we want to talk about, and I have to run off camera for a moment to talk to you about that. Thank you for waiting. You have your own water bottle that you probably want to bring along with yourself today. And the reason being is because we're going to be doing somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 12 different exercises. And with that being said, you're probably going to get a little dehydrated, maybe a little parched in your mouth and what have you. So go ahead and please feel free to take a drink off that water bottle. If you need to take a break from the exercises, again, we're doing about 10 to 12 or so exercises. Somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 15 repetitions per exercise. You might feel your heart rate go up. You might feel your respiration rate go up. So if you're breathing hard, your heart's beating, or you might even feel a little lightheaded, please take a breather. Literally a breather, sit down, have a rest, and take a drink. We'll be taking a couple of the exercises down to the ground today as well. So if you've got a mat, or if you're outdoors like we are here today, you'll want to go ahead and grab a little grassy area or perhaps maybe a mat as well. And I want to introduce you to a very special guest here today. And I'm going to put my mask back on just for the moment because she is our camera person. And I want you all to raise your hand and say a big hello to our camera person. That's Sherry.
Hello.
Say good morning, everybody.
Good to see you all. Glad you're here today. Have fun.
All right. Thank you, Sherry, for that. Now, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about William Randolph Hearst, who he was, very famous, wealthy California businessman. He loved the media. He was a media giant. He would be basically comparable or similar to today's Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook or Rupert Murdoch. And with the wealth that he accumulated with all the media businesses that he had, he decided to build up here in San Simeon. You might be asking yourselves, well, why in such a remote location? Why not Los Angeles to the south or San Francisco to the north? Well, he was born and raised in San Francisco, but his mom and dad bought some property here in the 1860s, and they would take their one and only son, William Randolph Hearst, when he was a child, over here to San Simeon, and he would summer here. So he told his mom and dad, someday, one day, I'm going to build here. And about 100 years ago, in 1919, 1920, William Randolph Hearst and an innovative, brilliant architect by the name of Julia Morgan, also from San Francisco, would build here. And you're going to see some palatial grounds, as well as we're talking about those crepuscular twilight animals and insects that roam here. Before we get started, though, I want you to go ahead, take a little drink. I want you to think also about posture. Take a couple of deep breaths, because like any good exercise program, we want to warm up properly. And the first warm up that we're going to do today is based on a crepuscular that Sherry and I oftentimes see when we're driving up here to Hearst Castle. And even though we're closed to the public, we do come up here to work. And you're going to be able to get a chance to see one of these animals, and its name is called the Turkey Vulture. And if you take a look there, take a look and see the wingspan on that beautiful bird, because that Turkey Vulture, which is basically Mother Nature's garbage collector, it cleans up after the other Mother Nature animals. That's going to be the basis of our first exercise. And that Turkey Vulture lives on the land conservancy that William Randolph Hearst and his family descendants donated to the state of California. And that's why we can come here live to you. So let's go ahead and think about our posture here. All right. So I'm going to turn myself away from the camera, and you can do this exercise, this warm up, either seated or standing. I'm going to do this standing. I'm also next to something where if I need to hold on to something, I can do so. So if you're standing, you're feeling a little unstable, a little dizzy, you want to do the same thing. Now, as I'm standing here away from the camera, you want to put your feet at about a shoulder to hip width stance. Bring your shoulders up and back, proud chest. You're going to tighten your tummy and tighten your rear end, or posterior as we like to say it, and really have good posture. Relax the shoulders. As I turn back towards the camera, go ahead and pretend you're that Turkey Vulture and extend those arms out. That's right. We want to try to make them parallel with the ground. Now, what you can do, like the Turkey Vulture does, as it takes care of Mother Nature's garbage, it oftentimes will sun itself and do this sort of thing, a little pulse or a little rounding of your arms like so, okay? Now, if you have shoulder issues and you can't seem to do this exercise, guess what? Bring it down as I turn myself away from the camera, grab a wrist, pull your shoulders up and back, tight tummy, tight rear end, and you're going to press down and eyes skyward, just like a bird, just like a Turkey Vulture. Press down as you hold onto the wrist with the opposite hand. And then you alternate. This will also stretch out those shoulders much in the same way that the Turkey Vulture wingspan will. Now, as I turn back to the camera, those of you that want to go ahead and do the Turkey Vulture wingspan, you'll go ahead and put those arms parallel, just like so. And again, you'll just be doing a little pulse back and forth. And what we're doing is we're trying to focus back there on our shoulder blades and just simply go back and forth, just like so. Now, if you want to, sometimes the Turkey Vultures like to hold their wings like this, and they sun themselves. Make sure that any sort of moisture that's in their wings, they do this and simply sun themselves. And then they also come up like this. So you can do this sort of movement too. This also helps with what's called the rotator cuff of the shoulder, up and down like so. So you want to make sure that you're not flexing your wrist back or forward. They're basically parallel with your arm there, your upper arm, and you're going to go say goodbye and say hello. Keep those upper arms parallel as much as you can with the ground. And if you want even more, as you say goodbye, you can go into a little hip hinge, like you're dipping like a bird into a bird bath, and then come up. And you exhale down and you inhale up, okay? So you can do that instead of the Turkey Vulture wingspan, okay? I'm going to come out and do the exercise that you saw with that picture, shoulders up and back, and let's pulse for about 10 seconds, shall we? Here we go. Counting down from 10, 9, 8, 7. Remember to breathe. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, shake it on out, nice and easy. Now, although this gentleman does not live up here, and he's not a crepuscular, he's not a specimen of animal life or of insect life, there's some birds flying here above us, he is a fictional character that likes to roam. during the nighttime from dusk until dawn, like the Crepusculars. And his name is Frankenstein. And Frankenstein happens to be an individual who's the basis of our next exercise. And so the camera's going to kind of move along with me. And we're going to be actually walking and extending our arms at the same time. So what I want you to go ahead and do, think about that posture, shoulders up, shoulders back. And you're about a hip width stance with those feet, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to kick up one leg and the opposite arm comes up and try to touch the toe. This is a balanced core cardio exercise as well as a warm up. So shoulders up, shoulders back, and you just simply step like Frankenstein. Little Frankenstein step. We'll go for 5 in one direction, 5 on each leg, and then we switch directions. We do that again. Big inhale, big exhale. Exhale as you extend your arm and your leg. Inhale as you bring that leg down. 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5. Now, if that's an okay exercise for you, continue with that. For those of you that have sort of balance issues or maybe hip issues, just simply march in place or march and moving along like I am, if you want to, and just come back and forth like so. And do it for 5 on each leg before you turn around again. What if you don't want to do that? You can either sit in place or stand in place and reach and reach. Or you can walk and reach, just like Frankenstein's arms. Again, 5 times. All right. So let's go ahead. We'll put it all together. You choose the modification you want to do. And let's go 10 Frankenstein arms and legs walks, shall we? All right, here we go. 1 and 1. Count with me. 2 and 2. Exhale, exhale, inhale, inhale. 5, 5. Turning around. Here we go. Exhale, exhale. Remember to inhale as the leg comes down. 7, 7, and 8, and 8. 9, 9, 10, and 10. All right. We are all warmed up. That being said, let's talk a little bit about that castle, shall we? Sherry's going to show you a beautiful picture now of that castle. I'm going to go ahead and grab my hydration station. As you take a look there in front of you, you are looking at what Mr. William Randolph Hearst called his little summer home, the ranch house. Now, how many of you think what you're looking at looks more like a church? Raise your hand if you think that looks like a church. A lot of people do think it looks like a church, but it's not. This is where William Randolph Hearst would spend many of his summers, beginning in about 1920, and invite all sorts of Hollywood guests, politicians, to spend weekends up here with him at his ranch house. That castle extends all the way in the air, 137 feet. And do you know there are 38 bedrooms in that castle where many of those Hollywood guests and politicians happen to stay? Now, focusing on the two towers there, I want you to take a look at the one that's on the right there. Those are called Caroline Bell Towers. And inside those towers, we might actually see some bats and then another animal up there that we'll talk a little bit later. But there are bats that actually fly around inside of the bell towers there. So you'll be able to see that picture as it comes up here. Just take a little look there. But we've seen bats here at nighttime, especially, again, crepuscular, when we are giving night tours, when we've been open to the public. So we're going to go ahead and base the next exercise on the bats. As we have the bell tower in the background there, okay? Now bats, they have wings that are connected all the way from, if you will, your little finger all the way down to their toes. So we're going to go ahead and essentially bring our feet together, bring our arms together like so. If I turn myself away from the camera, palms are together. And we're going to come up overhead and then pull the shoulder blades together as we come out with the arms and then come together. Now, they also move their feet at the same time. So as the arms come out, the feet come out, then you come back in. Arms out, feet out, just like so. Now, for those of you that are having hip issues or having shoulder issues, what else could you do? Well, bring those arms down. Again, that posture, shoulder width stance, hip width stance. proud chest, tight tummy, arms out to the side like this, and the thumbs are out away from your body. And you can just simply go ahead and rotate from the torso all the way up to your head and rotate like this. Think about your tether balls that you might have there on your elementary or secondary playgrounds. Want to make sure that your hips do not rotate. You stay square, straight ahead, and you rotate, okay? Otherwise, bring the arms together and we'll do those bats, okay? We'll step out 5 times on one side and then we'll step out 5 times on the other side. So the wings go from your little fingers all the way down to your little toes. Think like a bat flying in those bell towers. Here we go. So up, over, and out, and in for 1. Up, over, and out, and in for 2. Inhale here and exhale out here for 3. If you want to go a little faster, you can also go a little faster to make it more cardio. There's number 5. Now we go the other side, out, in, and out, and in, just like the bat. Wings. And of course, bats move much faster than we do as humans. And that's why they're able to sneak away in the dark of night. That's why they're crepuscular. All right, that's number 5. Take a little sip off your hydration station, as we like to call it. We're going to talk about another animal that likes to fly around in those bell towers. Soon you're going to be seeing a beautiful owl. What is native to the state of California is called the great horned owl. And many of Mr. Hearst guests would happen to see owls, not per se flying around in the Carillon Bell Towers, but they saw them out here at night when William Randolph Hearst would invite his Hollywood guests and political important folks for dinner in the castle. Now, as you take a look at that horned owl, I want you to think about neck movements. If you've ever seen an owl, an animated owl, it looks like that they move their head around all the way around in one big circle. And that owl is the basis of our next exercise. You can do this seated, you can do this standing, okay? And if you have a little bit of dizziness or vertigo issues, if you're standing, you might want to hold on to something stable. We're going to be moving our neck around a little bit. Okay, so again, that posture as I turn away from the camera, shoulder width stance, bring the shoulders up and back, proud chest, tighten the rear end, tighten the tummy. All right, and we're going to go ahead and bring our chin down to our chest. And then we come all the way back, extend the neck, and back down. Inhale, and then exhale back. Inhale, exhale down. We'll do 2 more of those for a total of 5. And inhale, and exhale. And 1 more. Inhale, and exhale. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. I'm going to have you do a little bit of side to side movement now. Okay, again, 5 on each side. So get that posture back into order. You can also take the opposite hand on the opposite side of the head and help yourself with this. And we go to one side, really elongate the neck muscle there on the opposite side that you're stretching, and then back. So inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And 1 more time for 5. Inhale, exhale. Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and do 1 more of those neck stretches. What looks like a neck circle, but we're just going to go from shoulder to shoulder. So your chin, as you bring those shoulders up and back, your chin is going to go over your shoulder nice and slow. Hold the stretch. Inhale in the middle, and then to the other side. That's 1. We're going to do a total of 5. Inhale to the middle and exhale. Inhale to the middle and exhale for 2. Inhale, exhale, inhale. Stretch that neck just like the ornery owl happens to. Inhale in the middle there. Exhale. Let's do 1 more for good measure. Exhale, inhale, and exhale. All right. Let's continue taking a look at that beautiful castle. Sherry's going to take us on a nice walk into Mr. Hearst's front yard of Hearst Castle. And as we do so, go ahead and march in place, get your cardio up a little bit as we take a look at that castle and the front door that the guests would walk into at night, at twilight, at dusk, to have a little bit of cocktails and dinner with Mr. Hearst. It's a beautiful day up here in San Simeon. William Randolph Hearst was a very influential media giant, much like Facebook is today. And that's how he met so many famous people. Now, as Sherry starts coming closer to the front door there, you're looking at an old convent door from about 500 years ago. And then the fanning that you see at the top there, that's from the 20th century, that one of Julia Morgan's, the architect, she hired craftsmen by the name of Ed Trinkeller to do that. And you know what that is? That is 24 karat gold leaf. So if you were lucky enough to be invited up here as a guest of William Randolph Hearst, those are the doors you would have walked through to have cocktails and enjoy a little bit of dinner with William Randolph Hearst and his actress girlfriend, Marion Davies, about 100 years ago. Now, as we walk away from the front door and that gold, we're going to turn around, all the way around, and take a look at a 20th century pond, a white marble pond that you see here. It looks like a clover leaf. But what I want you to imagine are frogs that might be jumping in and jumping out of that pond. Because the frog, even though we don't see it in the daytime, certainly we hear the croak of the frog at night. And here's where you might want to go ahead and get yourself a mat, because we're going to come down to the ground for this. We're going to do what are called frogger planks. So take a look at that frog there. He's kind of doing a squat. He's got his hands in front. So as we come back and take a look at the pond, we're going to do the same thing. Now my mat, I don't have it right here, but that's okay. You go ahead and come, bring the shoulders up and back, shoulder width stance. You're going to go ahead and hinge at the hip like we did there with those Turkey Vulture exercises on some of those. Then we're going to squat back like you're sitting down. When you squat, make sure you don't use your knees, but rather you're using your rear end here. You should squat on down, nice and easy. We're going to come on out onto our knees just like so. Okay, now for some of us, this might be a difficult move to make. So you can just think like a frog like this and just kind of pulse in place like this. Or if you'd rather be stationary, put your arms out in front, or if this hurts your shoulders, come back like so with your head towards the ground and stretch your lower back. But if you really want to do what's called the frogger plank, the flying frogger plank, we're going to be moving in a horizontal direction. You're going to come up into a plank just like so. I want to make sure I get on some non-slippery area here. Okay, shoulders up and back. You want to make sure your wrists, your elbows, your shoulders are all aligned. And you're going to come back and do a 3, 2, 1, and then press forward. Now, if you don't want to do that, just simply hold the plank. We're going to do about 10 of these, okay? So I'm going to do 3, 2, 1 jump, and we're going to jump as though we're going to jump out of that pond, okay? Imagine yourself in the pond as a frog. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, jump. And it's a nice explosive jump after that. Count of 3. 3, 2, 1. There's number 3. 3, 2, 1, 4. We're going again for 10. 3, 2, 1, 5. Halfway there. 3, 2, 1. If you want to go a little faster than I am, please feel free to do so. 7, 3, 2, 1, 8. We got 2 more. 3, 2, 1. Number 9. 3, 2, 1. And there's 10. All right, bring it down to your knees. Now, don't have a picture of our next little guy, but I want you to think about what frogs like to eat. Frogs like crickets. And frogs, they jump horizontally. Crickets, they jump vertically. We're going to come into the same position, but this time we're going to be on our toes, okay? And I want you to think cricket style and jump up like that. Now, if that's too much for you, go back to those knees. Come down into that nice little child's pose, or you can do a nice little pulse like so. Or you can just simply stay right here in what's called a deep squat. So you'll notice I'm really got my knees out, aligned with my ankles and my hips. If I want to, I can also push out with my elbows. You can just stay right there. Otherwise, we're going to hop right in place, trying to get away as dinner for the frog. All right, so here we go. We jump up for 1. And make this faster if you want to make it 4 of a challenge. As you can see, I go at a fairly slow pace. There's 6. Exhale up, inhale down. 7 and 8, 9, 10. Woo! between the Frogger planks and our nice little jumps with the crickets, let's talk about another crepuscular that tends to roam here up at Hearst Castle, the raccoon. And those raccoons, they can be quite ornery. They'll get into garbage cans. We don't know what the history of raccoons was up here 100 years ago, but they may have decided to get into some of the leftovers after dinner was served here at Hearst Castle. And you'll see that little guy there, he's standing on both legs. You can do this seated if you wish, especially if you're feeling a little winded like I am, okay? So let's go ahead as we're seated or standing, get our posture back in order, shoulders up and back, shoulder to hip width stance if you are standing. And you're gonna bring your arms up like so, seated or standing, almost like we were doing with the turkey vultures. We said the hello and the goodbye. What I want you to do is go ahead, bring those fingers together and then close them. So extend and flex, extend and flex, extend and flex, extend and flex. 2 more times, 1 more time. There it is. Now I want you to do the same thing, but spread the fingers like that, okay, for 10. 10 and 9 and 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, now a little bit hand-eye coordination. I want you to go ahead and touch your thumb with each finger, just like so. Those of you that want more challenge, bring it down into an isometric squat as you do that. Okay, so go back to the pinky, then backwards, just like so. So that 5 times, 5 more times. 1, all the way back to make it 1. There's 2, and there's 3. Keep that squat if you're squatting like me, and your final 1. There it is. Rustling raccoons. All right, we're gonna take a walk now behind the oldest statue here at Hearst Castle, 3,000 plus years old. I'm gonna take a walk into ancient Egypt. Grab your water bottle. Let's go ahead and take a walk down, see some more of this beautiful land known as the Hearst Ranch. So Sherry, how is your day going today?
It's wonderful. It's so beautiful up here today.
It's kind of hot, isn't it?
A little bit warm, yes.
Oh my goodness. Can you tell our audience what these are right here?
Those are azaleas. They're pink ones, and they come in many different colors, but these hot pink ones are very vibrant, and they're all around the castle.
So did Mr. Hearst like flowers and garden objects?
He sure did.
Wow.
He even color coordinated every landscape that was done here in front of the cottages and the house.
Color coordinated. So he called the castle the house. Is that correct?
Yes, the main house. We call it Casa Grande for
Casa
big
Grande.
house. But you know how he even liked coordinating colors when Julia Morgan was working on something we'll see a little later. The pink roses match the feldspar in that. And I know you're going to share that later.
Yes, we are. Well, you are now looking at a piece of ancient Egypt that Mr. Hearst purchased about 100 years ago. Not only did he love gardens like Sherry was talking about, and love to have these grand architectural structures like Casa Grande, the castle, he collected tens of thousands of art pieces, and this is one of them. This is the oldest art piece in his collection. And what Sherry is focusing in on there is a piece that is about 3,600 years of age. She is known as Sekhmet. She looks like a lion, and she has the body of a woman. And that disc that you see, that circle behind her head, that's representative of the sun god Ra, who was her father. And Sekhmet was a protector of the sun god Ra. And she also had a friend, if you can see her forehead there, it's broken away, but it's a cobra. I want you to go ahead and take a look at that, because the cobra is going to be the basis of our next exercise. Now, it's kind of hard to see that cobra on her head, but Sherry's going to show you a beautiful picture of that cobra here in just a second.
It went. I think the cobra crawled away.
Well, if the cobra crawled away, that wouldn't surprise me, because Sherry, it's daytime and they are very much nighttime animals. So
Here he is.
All right, there's the Cobra. So take a good look at that Cobra. And I'll spell Sekhmet for you, those of you that are taking notes. Again, Sekhmet, that 3,000-year-old statuary sculpture that you just saw, is spelled Sekhmet. And the Cobra was one of her friends. And the Cobra is the basis of our next exercise. Sekhmet and the Cobra would help to protect her father, the sun god Ra. Now I've got my mat down here, so you want to go to the end of your mat. We're gonna go ahead and bring our shoulders up and back. We're gonna bring ourselves into the hip hinge again. We're gonna squat down like we did over by the cloverleaf pond for the froggers and the crickets. We're gonna come on down to all fours, just like so. Now, for those of you that would rather go ahead and just stretch with this pose, it's called a child's pose. Feel free to do so. You can bring your hands behind you, stretch your shoulders more that way, or your arms in front and your head with your eyes facing downward. Those of you that want a little bit more, but it's not the Cobra pose yet, it's called a cat-cow pose. And you want to put your knees under your hips, and you want to make sure your wrists, elbows, shoulders are nicely aligned. Tighten the tummy, tighten the rear end, and you're going to arch your back with your chin to your chest like a kitty cat, and then you relax and extend your rear end, eyes skyward like a cow. So it's a cat-cow pose. And you can go ahead and do this if you want, back and forth. But for those of you that would like the Cobra pose, a little bit more challenging, we bring it down, belly's all the way on the ground, just like a snake, just like a cobra. Elbows in, and you got your hands next to your chest. You're going to go ahead and point your toes and just simply bring your head up like that. That's a baby cobra, baby cobra. You want a full-grown cobra? Push through your palms, keep those elbows aligned with the shoulders and eyes skyward, and you hold the pose like that. You'd hold that for about 15 seconds. Those of you doing the cat-cow, you want to do about 10 to 15 of those as we do the Cobra. Those of you that want more challenge than just the Cobra, holding that for 15 seconds, bring it up into a triangle, into a downward dog, and then come back to a Cobra. Downward dog, and into a Cobra. So it's basically a triangle, back into Cobra. All right, so choose where you want to be, and we're going to do 10 of these, okay? Cat, cow, Cobra, or child's pose. Here we go. And up. As you come into the triangle, exhale. Inhale as you come down to Cobra, then exhale again. And there's number 3 of 10. Nice stretch, but you also get a really good cardio workout with this because you're going back and forth. Now, if you need to slow it down, you can slow it down. But if you want to pick up the pace, you can pick up the pace. Let's try 3 more. I've lost my count. I apologize. And we'll do 2 more. And we'll do 1 more. There it is. All right. And on this beautiful day, we're going to go ahead and end our workout today with another little fellow that loves the life up here at night. And he's known as the Possum. And the Possum we see on the road when Sherry and I drive up here to work at Hearst Castle. And we oftentimes see him if the sun is still not quite over the horizon. It's light, but it's not light enough that they're scared away by the sun. But they like to basically roam the roads. They like to roam the ranch and the land up here at night. Now you'll see I'm going to go ahead and sit myself down on the mat. And so I came out of the Cobra pose, cat cow pose. I'm just going to go ahead and sit just like so. And now possums don't normally sit, but if you have a hard time getting down on the ground, you can just go ahead and sit yourself down on the ground or in a chair, shoulders up and back, and just breathe deeply through the nostrils and exhale out. Remember, this is a cool down pose. Inhale, and we exhale. Now, for those of you that want the full possum effect, we're going to go ahead, come on down. I'm going to go down onto my side so we don't hurt our back, and then lay all the way down. And what possums like to do when they are in danger or they see somebody that might want to attack them, they will just pretend they're asleep, what's called playing possum. And that's what we're going to do. So you can keep your feet together, or you can go ahead and let your feet spread out. You want to be totally relaxed, okay? So let your belly relax, hands on the ground, palms on the ground, and we're going to inhale deeply through the nostril, exhale out through the mouth for 3 times. Here we go. Big inhale. And exhale. Again. Inhaling through the nostrils. And exhale. And one more time. Inhale. And exhale. All right. Please feel free to stay right there as I come up. Let's sit up. Almost tripped on myself there. I got so relaxed. And I want to thank you again for showing up today for Parks PE. Quite relaxed after playing possum exercise there. And you see, I've taken my mask out of my pocket. That's because I'm going to put it back on right now. That being said, everybody, make sure you wash your hands. Take some water off that hydration station. And as we say goodbye to you, after getting muscular with the Crepusculars, enjoy that beautiful view that we started with, San Simeon Harbor in the Pacific Ocean. And we will see you next week. Thanks for coming, everybody. Take care.